Have you ever watched the person you love become a stranger right before your eyes? I saw it happen in the faint blue glow of a phone screen at 2 a.m. My wife Jessica was asleep next to me, her breathing even. But her phone was buzzing silently on the nightstand. A single message preview lit up the darkness. Can't stop thinking about last night. You're incredible. It wasn't from me. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the suffocating quiet of our Chicago bedroom. I knew, in that instant, that the foundation of my world had just cracked. I had to know who was on the other side of that screen, even if it meant shattering everything I held dear. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far a story flows. The strange behavior had started subtly. Late nights at the office she never used to have, a sudden obsession with her phone's privacy, a new, expensive perfume she claimed she'd bought for herself. When I'd try to get close, she'd flinch. A barely perceptible recoil, but for a man who had memorized every inch of her for 10 years, it was a scream. She'd become cold, a marble statue of the woman I married. The warmth was gone, replaced by a chilling indifference. When I'd ask if something was wrong, her eyes would narrow. "Don't be so needy, David," she'd say, her voice dripping with a condescension that was entirely new. "I'm just busy. Not everything is about you." The man on the other end of those texts was Mark, her boss. A slick, silver-haired real estate mogul with a predatory smile and a corner office overlooking Millennium Park. I'd met him once at a company dinner. He shook my hand with a grip that was too firm, his eyes lingering on Jessica a second too long. They thought they were untouchable, wrapped in the arrogance of their secret affair, laughing at the loyal, trusting husband at home. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday. I found a receipt for the Park Hyatt on Chicago Avenue tucked into her glove compartment. It was for a suite, dated for a night she was supposedly at a work conference in Schaumburg. I sat in my car, the rain blurring the city lights into a watercolor of my own misery, and I just shattered. The humiliation was a physical weight, crushing the air from my lungs. For an hour, I was just a broken man in a parked car. But as the anger began to burn through the grief, a cold, hard resolve settled in my gut. They wanted to destroy me. Fine. But I wouldn't go down alone. My pain sharpened into a weapon. The game was on. I became a ghost in my own home. I was the loving husband, bringing her coffee in the morning, listening to her fabricated stories about her day. But behind the facade, I was a detective. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who operated out of a dusty office in the Loop. He was worth every penny. He gave me photos, Jessica and Mark kissing in a dimly lit booth at Gibson's bar, their hands intertwined. Them entering the Park Hyatt, her head on his shoulder. He gave me records of their calls, their texts. I documented everything, every lie, every stolen moment. I contacted a shark of a divorce lawyer, a woman known for dismantling men like Mark in court. We set the traps. I moved our joint assets into a protected trust my lawyer set up, leaving the shared accounts nearly empty. I compiled a dossier on Mark's shady business dealings, information the Pi dug up that went far beyond infidelity. The stage for the final act was Jessica's 35th birthday party. She'd insisted on a lavish affair at a rooftop bar on Wacker Drive, inviting all our friends, her family, and her colleagues, including Mark and his wife. She stood there, radiant in a dress I knew I hadn't paid for, basking in the attention. She felt invincible. Midway through the party, I took the microphone, ostensibly for a birthday toast. I started by talking about love, trust, and 10 years of marriage. Then, my tone shifted. I looked directly at Jessica, whose smile was beginning to falter. But sometimes I said, my voice echoing across the silent rooftop, "Things aren't what they seem." And then I told them. I told them everything. I projected the photos from the Pi onto a large screen behind me. The gasps were audible. Mark's wife stared, her face a mask of horror. Jessica's face crumbled, the arrogance melting away into pure, panicked disbelief. But I wasn't done. The final piece of my plan was her sister, Sarah. A week before the party, I had sat down with her. She was a good person, burdened by her sister's secret. With tears in her eyes, she had confessed everything she knew, how Jessica had been planning to leave me, how she'd been mocking my trust for months, Now, at the party, I turned to Jessica. "Your own sister couldn't live with your lies," I said, my voice cold and steady. "She told me everything, Jessica." I laughed about my loyalty. "How you were planning to take half of everything I'd ever worked for. That was what broke her. Not the affair being exposed, but the betrayal from her own blood." She let out a guttural sob, a sound of absolute ruin, and collapsed. Mark tried to slink away, but my lawyer had already served him with a lawsuit for emotional distress. An alienation of affection, along with an anonymous tip to the SEC about his business practices. He was finished. Jessica lost everything: her friends, her reputation, her family's respect. The divorce left her with nothing but her shame. I sold the house, moved out of Chicago, needing to put the city and its ghosts behind me. Sometimes late at night I think about that rooftop. I don't feel triumph, just a profound, chilling emptiness. Revenge, it turns out, is not a fire that warms you. It's a void that consumes everything, leaving you standing alone in the cold.